Daily Finance News, India, the 13th of March 2023, greater than Sriram's bandwidth. SVB crisis unlikely to affect Indian banks. Indian banks are better prepared for bond market turbulence than they were in the past, with strong capital ratios and reduced interest rate risk in their portfolios. The recent collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, is not expected to cause contagion effects in India's banking sector, which has minimal exposure to the US lender. Domestic government bond yields have risen as the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, tightens policy, but yields on long-term bonds are anchored by demand from insurance companies. Traders expect Indian bonds to benefit from risk aversion triggered by the SVB collapse, with a flight to quality assets boosting the appeal of higher-yielding fixed-income assets in emerging markets. Yes Bank's shareholder lock-in expires, faces trust test today. Yes Bank faces a final test as the 3-year shareholder lock-in period ends, with investors looking to offload their holdings. A consortium of 10 institutional investors led by State Bank of India infused Rs. 10,000 crore in the private lender in 2020 as part of the Yes Bank reconstruction scheme. While most banks have offloaded shares not under lock-in, SBI still holds 26% stake and plans to pare it down. Individual investors hold up to 135 crore shares and ETFs hold another 6.7 crore. The extent and intensity of the sell-off will gauge investor and shareholder faith in the institution since the reconstruction. Resolving the Fed rate puzzle, the last pieces of the inflation. Upcoming reports on U.S. inflation and retail sales will be key economic data for Federal Reserve policymakers ahead of their meeting. The Core Consumer Price Index is expected to rise 0.4% for a third consecutive month in February, with a median estimate of a 5.5% gain from a year ago. While inflation remains elevated, fresh figures show employment growth in February and a softening in wage gains, which may help to temper price pressures in the coming months. Fed officials will also consider the impact of their year-long tightening campaign on the financial system.